The skies over the Middle East echoed with tension on Tuesday night, September 2, 2025. Israel successfully launched its newest spy satellite, OFEX 19, into orbit. The operation was conducted in silence, away from public cameras, using a Safed rocket from a classified location inside Israel. No live broadcast, no festive announcements, only one undeniable fact: Gaza and its surroundings are now under constant watch from outer space. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz hailed the achievement as a world-class technological milestone. He declared the launch of OFEX 19 to be a direct message to Israel's adversaries. No movement, no step, will remain hidden. Behind the measured official statements lay an unmistakable threat, particularly toward Gaza, the primary focus of this satellite. OFEX 19 is not just a piece of hardware drifting in orbit. It carries advanced surveillance instruments, ultra-high-resolution cameras, infrared night vision, and synthetic aperture radar. With this arsenal, Israel gains the ability to monitor movements by land, sea, and air with unprecedented precision. The project was a collaboration between the Ministry of Defense, the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, and defense company IAI. Once fully operational, command will be transferred to Unit 9900, the IDF's Geospatial and Visual Intelligence Division. Israel has operated spy satellites since 1988, but OFEX 19 marks a more intense focus, driven by the short but fierce conflict with Iran 2 months ago. The deployment of OFEX 19 signals a new phase in Israel's military doctrine. Security officials report that the satellite provides real-time intelligence with greater accuracy than its predecessors. Every activity in Gaza, whether the movement of armed groups or supply logistics, can now be tracked with little delay. For Israel, OFEX 19 is more than technology. It is a silent weapon with enormous deterrent power. The Ministry of Defense confirmed the satellite will function as part of a multi-layered surveillance system, working in tandem with drones, reconnaissance aircraft, and ground sensors. With this integration, Israel positions itself among the most advanced intelligence powers in the world. Gaza, already a flashpoint of conflict, is now under an unblinking digital eye. International analysts warn that the move represents a serious escalation, widening tensions with Iran, Syria, and beyond. OFEX 19, they argue, is not confined to Gaza. It can track military activity across the entire region. Its presence in orbit serves as a warning that Israel is no longer merely defending itself, but preparing to act offensively with surgical precision. Israel dismisses the criticism. Defense Minister Katz stated the launch is solely for national security, a line meant to justify the move as defensive. But the underlying message is clear. Israel intends to dominate the narrative while showcasing unmatched superiority in surveillance technology. Once in orbit, OFEX 19 underwent rigorous testing, camera calibration, radar synchronization, and data transmission trials to ground control. Early reports suggest flawless performance, reinforcing confidence that the satellite is mission-ready for long-term use. Control will be handed to IDF Unit 9900, known as the military's visual brain. This elite division goes beyond simply viewing images. They detect patterns, track suspicious activity, and even predict attacks from subtle ground shifts or shadows in satellite photos. With OFEX 19, their analytical power expands dramatically. For Gaza, the psychological impact is immense. Militants are not the only ones feeling the heat. Civilians also sense the constant watch overhead. Daily routines, meetings, and port activities may all be captured from above. This is the nature of modern warfare: silent, invisible, yet deeply unsettling. Globally, critics argue the launch underscores Israel's drive for technological dominance. Concerns over privacy and legality surface, but Israel insists its actions are justified under security needs. Each orbit of OFEX 19 tightens Israel's grip in space-based intelligence. The lingering question: will this eye in the sky prevent conflict or fuel it further? The timing of OFEX 19's launch cannot be divorced from recent history. Only 2 months ago, Israel and Iran clashed in a brutal 12-day confrontation. That conflict reinforced a lesson. Modern wars are not won by troop numbers alone, but by the superiority of information. Israel's response is clear: deploy a satellite capable of reshaping the battlefield. Equipped with artificial intelligence, OFEX 19 does more than observe. It can process thousands of images in seconds, flagging suspicious movements such as weapons convoys, underground tunnel construction, or hidden military gatherings. Raw data becomes actionable intelligence almost instantly. This gives Israel's commanders the ability to act with speed and precision, a decisive edge in any confrontation. The implications extend beyond Gaza. Neighboring states now face new strategic constraints. Iran, Syria, and militant factions know their maneuvers may be exposed at any moment. Analysts warn the satellite could tilt the balance of power across the Middle East, placing Israel firmly in control of the skies. But does OFEX 19 promise stability, or sharpen the region's instability? History suggests that surveillance capabilities rarely remain passive. More often, they foreshadow larger operations. Behind the technical triumph lies a calculated political message. Israel wants adversaries and allies alike to see its technological prowess. Every spy satellite it launches reaffirms its role as a military innovator. OFEX 19 is intended not only to monitor Gaza but to send a statement: Israel is a global intelligence power. Unit 9900 is central to this narrative. Known for its precision in analyzing imagery, the unit can interpret the smallest details, shadows that suggest tunnels, or vehicle clusters hinting at troop movements. With OFEX 19, this skill is enhanced by AI algorithms that detect patterns invisible to the human eye. For Gaza's militant leaders, the psychological pressure is acute. Every move could be revealed at any time, instilling fear and paralysis. This is asymmetric warfare in its most modern form, not battles of manpower, but battles of information and surveillance. Yet criticism rises. Human rights organizations caution that such surveillance may worsen civilian suffering. They warn OFEX 19 could guide strikes that risk collateral damage. Israel remains unmoved, insisting its actions are justified by the need to protect its citizens. For Israel, OFEX 19 proves that 21st century conflict extends beyond land and air into outer space. The country now joins the ranks of global powers like the United States, Russia, and China in deploying orbital surveillance. The satellite's strength lies in its hybrid systems. Its ultra-high-resolution camera can capture details as small as vehicles from hundreds of kilometers above. Synthetic aperture radar allows imaging through clouds and storms. Infrared sensors ensure that night offers no cover. Together, they form a nearly flawless surveillance net. Reports suggest militant groups in Gaza are already changing tactics. Electronic communication has decreased, replaced by human couriers. Fear of the eye in the sky is reshaping how they operate. Meanwhile, regional rivals may respond with their own space ambitions. Analysts predict a new intelligence arms race in the Middle East. Whether this leads to deterrence or destabilization remains uncertain, but one truth is undeniable. Israel has expanded the battlefield into orbit. Israel projects an image of military operations driven by data precision. With OFEX 19, the combination of ground, air, and now orbital intelligence makes its maneuvers difficult to anticipate. Strikes can be launched with pinpoint accuracy, as if every target had already been mapped in advance. Globally, the symbolism is striking. A small nation, surrounded by adversaries, demonstrates it can field spy satellites rivaling those of superpowers. Observers fear this capability extends beyond Gaza, covering entire nations across the region. This sense of being constantly watched may drive rivals toward defensive, or even provocative, responses. For Gaza civilians, daily life feels increasingly precarious. Normal activities, walking streets, attending meetings, unloading ships, may all be under invisible scrutiny. The fear that this data could lead to sudden military strikes adds to the burden of an already war-torn existence. Israel argues surveillance prevents conflict by deterring hostile action. Yet history shows pressure often breeds resistance. OFEX 19 is a powerful eye, but whether it brings peace or provokes further unrest remains unresolved. The launch of OFEX 19 cements surveillance as the cornerstone of Israel's defense doctrine. No territory, no adversary, is beyond its reach. Each movement in Gaza, or across the Middle East, could now be tracked, recorded, and analyzed. Observers worldwide are asking, will OFEX 19 remain a watchful eye, or will it become the trigger for future military campaigns? Analysts point to a pattern. Israel's upgrades in surveillance often precede major operations. If this holds true, Gaza may be the first to feel the satellite's impact. The ripple effect is global. By placing a new spy satellite in orbit, Israel risks igniting a regional space race. Iran, Syria, and Gulf states may now rush to acquire similar technology, or lean on allies like Russia or China for countermeasures. The fragile balance of the Middle East may tip further into uncertainty. From Israel's perspective, the message is clear. OFEX 19 is a guarantee of survival. But to the world, it is also a provocation. The final question hangs in the air. Will the sharp eye above bring safety, or set the stage for an even greater conflict?